Morning, everyone. My name is Lee, and so I'm so glad to be here. And so I got an invitation from Professor Angelina Chen, and one was in a remote and snow resort and in Utah. And so for those of you who have been to Utah, you know, like when you drive to Utah and you saw the sign and it says, and your life is elevated and in Utah. And so I didn't realize, and there was not much signal on my phone, and my phone really had a hard time and to pull out and the email, and one was in Utah, and so, but I saw the date and I saw, and the invitation. I was a little bit hesitated because I knew, and I was going to start a dental treatment, and the week before, and so, but after, and I was able to pull out the whole email and look at all the lineup, all the speakers, and I said, no, we got to go there. And so we like to be part of this symposium. And so thanks, Professor Chen, and for inviting us. And so it's our pleasure and to be part of this. And we really enjoy the talks, the knowledge, and you shared with us. Okay, so I want to introduce ourselves a little bit. And so again, and my name is Lee, and I'm a professor in computer science and from Cal State Northridge. And so I have 3 students and joining me today, and I have Gagik, and Robin, and Summayah. Okay. So I want to start with a little bit introduction and about the institute. Okay, so we're part of a 23 campus and system, and so the whole system is called Cal State and system, and so we're the largest and institute and to produce and people and for California, and so you can see that, and we have a lot of graduate and in different area, and so Northridge is one of the campus, the 23 campus, and so we are on the other side and of LA, and we have the largest enrollment and in the whole CSU system, and so, but one of the uniqueness of this campus is it's built on a flat land, and which means we provide a lot of services and to and student and with disability. So we have a national center on deafness, and we make all of our curriculum and instructional material and accessible and to students and with disability. And we have a very large and service center and for students with disability, and we have somewhere between 1,500 and to 2,000 students and who have disability and on campus, and so which give us the opportunity and to serve them and also and to learn from them and to develop our program and in disability study and in assistive technology, and which is the focus and of our talk and today. So from CSU, because this is a 23 campus and large system, and so we have a lot of and policy. I think people talk about policies and governance and yesterday and earlier today, and so we have a very systematic approach and to guide us and to make sure and we support students with disabilities and also and all different students and in terms of digital accessibility as much as we can. And so let me back up a little bit. And so we have a program and which has been running and for 30, 40 years. And so it provides training and in the area of assistive technology. And so it has been running for 30, 40 years. And so we see a lot of people and graduating and from our program. But since then, and the university and also hosts a very large conference and in the area of assistive technology. So it used to be called CSUN Conference on Disability Study. And about 7, 8 years, and we changed the name and to assistive technology. And you can see the change there. And we want to focus on and how technology and really help and people and with disability. So the conference and just concluded about 5, 10 days ago, And so next year, it will be its 40th anniversary. And so we will be great. And if all of us and can get together and next year and at the CSUN conference. And so as I said, and so our campus is a really diverse and environment. And so the Wall Street Journal and rank us #2 and in this country in terms of its diversity. And so we have students and from different culture, ethnic and background, and we have students and with disabilities. And so our campus build programs and around a student. We're really building a student-centered and program and to provide them an opportunity and to get a career and also get started and in these areas. And so this is a picture and from the conference about 2 years ago. And so one of the greatest stuff, and I have been telling people is being a student at CSUN and you get a free access into this conference. And also this conference and is open and to all the assistive technology users. Okay, and also there's no charge and to users. So, but this conference is a very comprehensive conference. And so I think this is what I learned and from yesterday and today's talk. And so we're trying to bring and many stakeholders into this conference and trying to have a more holistic and approach and to look at in this field. And so we have people from academia and 100%. And so we also have people from the government, and we have people from industry. And this year, I think we had about 130 plus and companies and joining us, including those big names. And also, we have gamers and at the conference. And so, gamers on wheelchairs. And so, they all join us and to talk about and all different topics and in this area. So back on campus, and we also have a lot of faculty and doing research and in this area. And so we have about 15, 20 faculty members and who are interested in this assistive technology area. And as you can see, they are from different background, and because the nature of assistive technology and really need the expertise and from different area. And so, over the last 10, 12 years, and so we're able to put out 2 programs and at the graduate level and to teach a student and about assistive technology. And so one focus more on the human service side, and the other one is more on engineering, and which I'm more responsible for this assistive technology engineering program. And so maybe I'm the youngest one and among the faculty, and so taking more management and duty and for the program. And so over the years, and we have trained and a lot of students and at the graduate level, and so they create and prototypes and they create and technologies and which it's super helpful and to the community, and also not only to the assistive technology community but to the extended and community, because the knowledge and can transfer and to other domains. Okay, and so students who finish this program and went to different industries, but the design, the human-centered design, and also the interdisciplinary and nature and of this program, and really prepare them and to handle different kind of tasks, challenges, and we have seen and when we create technologies and for real users. So this is a curriculum from my program on the engineering side, as you can see, and we have different topics, and it covers from the human factors and to computing and robotics, and also to project management. And so by the end of the program, and we gave them a little bit extended more time, and so they can put all their knowledge and skill together and to prototype and something they think they are is useful and for the user. So here I want to share and some of the, oops, I guess for some reason the video doesn't play, and it's an abandoned video and from YouTube. So I was going to show you some highlights and from our students and in the program, and so, but I guess I will skip to the next one. I hope this one and can play. So this project is from one of our students and who is blind, and but he was able to finish in this graduate level and program. And so the engineering prototype and he developed and is for and deaf and blind people. So how many of you have experience of communicating and with deaf and blind people? So I think Andrew also talked about and communication, right, and the accessibility part. And so, you saw like how American Sign Language works, right? And so I think a lot of us probably know sign language. And so during COVID, and we see a big challenge and to the deaf and blind community because they cannot see the sign language, right? And so the way and how we communicate with them is through haptic feedback. And so what we usually do is that we sign, but we need to hold hand and of someone else, right? And of that person. And so we can sign them and they can read it. But as you can imagine, and during COVID, and we're trying to minimize and this physical contact, right? And so that's why, and I think it motivated and the student and to come up with a technology in which we can still communicate and with the deaf and blind community and with a more affordable and solution. So sorry, I mean, it looks like Google Slides has some problem of playing the video, but what I was going to show you is, and he connect a phone and with a refresh and a braille and display, and so people can use their phone and to communicate and with people who are blind and deaf, and so in 6 feet and social distance, and we used to have, and during the pandemic. So, a lot of students did this work and based on what they saw, what they observed, and felt the challenges and in their life or the community or from their community. So, which made us really exciting because, and we know we can build some technical solution and for and people with disability and create a different assistive technology. So about 2-3 years ago, and we think about and what is our strengths, and so how can we really and expand in this program and in the next couple of years. And so we thought, okay, and our students and are very talented, and so they learn and new technology, right? And they learn AI and big data and machine learning and all this stuff. And so if we can connect more of them and with assistive technology, and so they can be the creator, the innovators, and in this field. So we don't need to wait until and they are in graduate school, and so we can start this and much sooner. And so they can be part of us, and also a lot of our students and are from a very diverse and background, and I think a lot of researchers may have seen that. And not all the ethnic groups and they adopt assistive technology and at the level and as their peers, right? And so I hope the student can also bring the message and back to their community and to show the community, right? And so assistive technology and is something that really help and people with disability and help people and to regain and their independent life. Okay. And so with the grants and from NSF and also from some companies, and we're able to start and this pilot program. And so today, and I'm so glad, and so some of them are here. And so, I mean, this is a group project. And but I guess if I bring the whole group over here, that will blow Dr. Chen's budget. And so, Robin and Gagik, and we'll talk about and their project and how it support and people with disability.
Hello, everyone. So I want to start off by saying I'm very nervous. It's my first time presenting in such in front at in a symposium setting, and I'm sorry if my voice shakes or if anything happens. It's pretty nerve-wracking presenting in front of so many smart people. So okay, so let's start. I'll start off by introducing ourselves. So hello everyone, my name is Robin, and
I'm Gagik.
we are both computer science students at CSUN and are part of a senior design project for this academic year 2022-2023, guided by Dr. Li Liu. And today we are going to present to you our senior design project, which is a voice output communication app that we called AAC Sargic. So going to the next slide. At the beginning of this academic year, Dr. Li Liu introduced us to the opportunity to collaborate and communicate with people from interdisciplinary studies and develop such a voice output communication app for people such as Philip Emerson. And I'm going to pass the microphone to Gagik to talk about more who Philip is.
Right. So Philip Emerson is from San Jose and works in the real estate business. He has a family of 4 who he's close with and wishes to provide them with a better life than he had. Due to having had a stroke, he suffers from both dysarthria and aphasia. So aphasia happens from brain damage and affects the understanding of speech, while dysarthria is a condition that affects the muscles needed for speech, but does not affect the ability to understand. These 2 conditions commonly go hand in hand for stroke victims. So we believe AAC Sargic will help improve his day-to-day made for Android devices through rehabilitation and as a tool for communication.
So in the process of better understanding this problem, we received great guidance from speech pathology experts such as Dr. Vicky Yu, who is a professor in communications disorders and science at CSUN. We also received guidance from Carlene Yonemori, which works in speech pathology at Rancho Los Amigos National Rehabilitation Center. And throughout the academic year, Professor Liu also conducted field trips to Rancho Los Amigos Rehabilitation Center and also to the CSUN Language, Speech, and Hearing Center, where we actually got to meet with our advisors and actually receive significant help in better understanding how to solve this problem. We also conducted our own research and review regarding this problem so we could create a better application for them. So this is a group photo from the field trip at the National Rehabilitation Center. I decided to add this photo because I consider this field trip to be significant in our learning experience, as Rancho is the 2nd largest municipal health system in the nation, operating 26 health centers and 4 acute care hospitals, and providing health services for about 750,000 unique patients each year. This field trip exposed us to fascinating assistive technologies, but also opened our eyes to the importance of such assistive technologies and what we could add on to them to better improve the technology, the available technology. So first, going on what AAC is. So AAC represents all the possible ways, it stands for augmentative and alternative communication, and it represents all the possible ways a person communicates without talking, for example, using gestures or facial expression or even high-tech options such as mobile application or different communication devices. Augmentative stands for adding to someone's speech, while alternative stands for alternative solutions to speech. Our focus is a high-tech solution for AAC through the form of an Android and web application that's easily accessible to most people.
Okay, so let's talk about the problem. Aphasia, dysarthria, and apraxia So apraxia is very similar to dysarthria, but it's more developmental and it happens in children. Poses significant difficulty for individuals impacting their expressiveness. Because most existing AAC apps are limited to iOS devices, we want to procure a dynamic solution made for Android devices that stands out in design compared to already existing ones.
So at AAC Sargic, our vision is dedicated to empowering the voices of individuals who need communication and speech assistance. People would use AAC Sargic to be able to express themselves and better communicate with those around them. We provide a patient-friendly, inclusive, and customizable solution, enabling seamless communication to reduce the financial burden of individuals and bridge the gap between gap left by existing iOS-only options. Okay, so project components.
Yep. So our product consists of 5 main components and features. They'll give the users the tools they need to communicate better. So to start off, we have the visual scene display. And this is the workshop where we're providing our users to upload or take photos, to mark hotspots on, along with adding a caption or description through either AI or manually, which allows the creation of a text-to-speech button, which will then be sent to the in-app gallery. We also have an intuitive and simple keyboard design with word prediction in both ABC keyboard layout and the standard QWERTY keyboard layout. And these predictions can also come with context-based emojis to further assist our users on what they want to communicate. Next, we have the AI-generated phrases for photos uploaded by users, which we'll see images later. And finally, the in-app gallery of photos that contain phrases linked to the image. And these will be used as buttons for speech. So here's a common use case for the vision of our app. So let's say you struggle with getting across what you want to order, let's say at your favorite burger joint. First thing you do is you'd open your visual scene display, take a picture of the menu, specifically a picture of the burger per se. You choose the AI captioning. So before that, you have to mark a hotspot on the burger. And then you can choose the AI captioning to offer a phrase like, I would like a cheeseburger. If the AI can't get exactly what you want because it's not perfect, you can manually type in the caption, or you can edit the one the AI gave you. And then this gets sent to the gallery. And then you can access that image in the gallery through the main hub. And you can click on it to preview the image, and the image should have a hotspot, which you can click on as a button to give out a text-to-speech output. So if you want to place cheeseburgers for order in future, you can always reuse the one you saved in the gallery. And we think this is a fast and effective and dynamic approach compared to already existing AAC apps, which have kind of static buttons for text-to-speech.
Okay, so going into the system architecture. Okay, sorry for that. Going into the system architecture, I'm trying not to go into technical, but so the user is going to be able to access the application through both his web browser or through a mobile application. So we're built it in a hybrid way. We're going to have our servers deployed in the cloud for the the user interface server, and the backend servers that are going to be stored on an Azure App Services server using Microsoft Azure services. We will connect these servers to. We're connecting these servers to our object prediction model that we have, and then for sentence generation, we're connecting it to the GPT API and trying to make the GPT API work with it. After that, we're going to store the data into a database for the structured data, and for unstructured data like the images that the user will take, we store the images in a blob container using Azure. So So this is so far a simple UI that we have for the app that we started. So to the left, we have top left, we just have the gallery with the buttons that get saved and stored. So the user can then just access the ones from that he saved and just uh, press the button to have the text to speech functionality. Then at the bottom side, in the bottom, we have the interactive keyboard, which where we can see it also the ABC layout and the QWERTY layout that's showcased. We're trying to add the word prediction and for words to also show assistive emojis. We're trying to make it sentence based for now, but for now we just have it for a word. But to make it that it reads the context and then it shows the image so the user better understands what the sentence is supposed to be. And then in the right top we have a visual scene display, our visual scene display where the user is going to take a photo, draw a bounding box, and then the text gets predicted. Then he could either press the text to speech button or just edit the message in case it's not wrong. So this is a part of our UI. And finally,
So to conclude our project, our main goal is to improve the quality of life of our users and want them to feel as unaffected from their conditions as possible. And some ideas we have for future work are providing more quality of life features to our users, such as maybe adding an album system for the gallery to make it easier for our users to find images in certain situations they find themselves in. And we have our project website also linked. And this is our team. All right.
Well, thank you, Robin. Thank you, Gago. And so for presenting your project. And so I think this is the first time they kind of present the project and it's still in progress. And so they will wrap up this project and in probably 5-6 weeks. And so we definitely and want to get your feedback about their project. And so we can put it before we put it and back to Rancho and to test it and over there. And so we see a lot of and challenges like in our life, and so we kind of like learn and those challenges, and we formulate technical solutions. I think someone and talked about it yesterday about those social technical innovations, right? And so, but we also and ask ourselves, and so for people with disabilities, and what we don't know and about them, right? And so we know a lot of challenges we can observe and a lot of challenges, right? And so sometimes I go to a senior living and I go to hospitals and I talk to clients or patients and all there, right? And so my student also did field work and to those places. But we're trying to ask ourselves and what we don't know and about them. And so how can we really and tell ourselves what we don't know? And so, Summayah is a graduate student and in comp science. And so she's using a very innovative approach and to find that knowledge and from a public available and a source, and which is also very authentic and to this knowledge building and process. So I will pass the mic to her.
Hello, everyone. I'm Summayah. And again, like Professor Lilu said, I'm a software engineering major, graduate student. And so one of the, no? Okay. So one of the research projects that I had pleasure on working on with Professor Lilu was investigating how people with disabilities disclose difficulties on YouTube. So I'm sure we're all familiar with this platform. It's very popular, very well known, I'm very sure, so I don't think it needs any introduction. So let me head right into it. So people with disabilities use video sharing platforms like YouTube and more like merging ones like TikTok is really popular right now. So they use these platforms to, share their everyday life stories, share their creative work, or just share like their personal like experiences and exchange that information through this platform. So here we have some examples of people with disabilities kind of sharing their everyday daily activities and opinions in videos and how they're disclosing specifically difficulties they're encountering in their world and their surroundings. So I can just go one by one, just kind of going over some of the sample videos that we analyzed. In total, this work, we present around 257 clips. We analyzed 257 video clips and mention how disabilities, disability challenges, like mention disability challenges and like how they're affecting how people are disclosing them through YouTube and like analyzing and categorizing those videos. So we have Exhibit A, a YouTuber explains the texture of a bathing chair can hurt her skin. Just from a more residential perspective, how some certain appliances at home can hurt people that you don't realize, but how somebody else it might those appliances might not work for them. A video, Exhibit A, a video showing a problem with magnifiers when reading comments. So just looking into assistive technology, a lot of people on YouTube have already done extensive reviews of how certain assistive technologies work. And the pros and cons of each. A YouTuber gamer mentioning the fog can't make text hard to read. So like the earlier presentation mentioning how video games need this accessibility check, making sure that things are readable, things are visible for people with low vision. Exhibit D, a kid struggling with using an iPad with the left hand. Exhibit E, a YouTuber tells a story about hitting a stone and overturn the wheelchair. So again, people with disabilities can encounter things in the natural environment, which something that might be not in our hands, but still something that we can help improve by, making sure the roads are clear, making sure that things, places where people are using the environment, they're accessible for everyone. Exhibit F, a YouTuber shows it is difficult to use a regular ladder to fix the smoke detector. So again, in the more residential home environment, figuring out why things like how a certain appliance maybe works for you, but it might not work for everyone. In Exhibit G, an interview mentions they lost their vision and it is hard to take buses. So that in transportation environment, how is that accessible to everyone, studying how people are disclosing their difficulties about that environment through YouTube. So overall, going into our methodology, the first thing we did was decipher the disability keywords. We had 5 main categories: vision, speech, mobility, hearing, and cognitive and neural. So just to make sure we encompass all the different, some disabilities have a lot of different names and categories to them. So to make sure that we can cover a broad area, we made sure to include like for vision, include words like blindness, low vision, blind, loss of vision, vision impairment. Again, for speech disorders, language disorders, just different synonyms to make sure we cover a good ground of keywords. And yeah, exactly, for like cognitive and neural, like anxiety disorders, Asperger's syndrome, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So like different, just getting a broad category of all the disabilities and different names that they use. So from that initial search, we used the YouTube data API and we got 1,180 initial channels. And we made sure to filter out center, organization, association, group, and mission, just to make sure that we're getting these authentic stories that aren't being filtered through, a group like organization and what they're projecting, but just getting that firsthand experience, what people are experiencing and how they're presenting that information on YouTube. And so then we did a more manual verification. So we manually verified 738 channels and we verified whether there were people with disabilities or their caregivers. A lot of times caregivers are with children. They will showcase how their journey is with their children and how their children are dealing with environmental factors in everyday life. And so with that, we ended up with around 50,000 videos with subtitles. Then we went through a segmentation process and made these into video clips, and specifically finding videos that express a difficulty. So we went through the subtitles and looked for keywords like difficult, difficulty, disappoint, challenge, hard, impossible, inconvenience, and there's 96 words in total. And so we ended up with around 17,000 videos with difficulty, with like a difficulty keyword mentioned. And we sampled around 1,000 and to end up with around 257 total video clips, 257 video clips that mention a disability in one of these 5 barrier types. So the rest of the clips that were in that 1,000, they either were categorized as it wasn't like a difficulty statement, like they used a difficulty word, but it was like no problem, or that's not a challenge, or they used it not in a mention that it's like a difficulty. Yeah. And then or they had like maybe a general difficulty unrelated to disability, like, oh, this math problem is very hard, but it's not really related to the disability. It's just, oh yeah, everyone would find this math problem hard. It's a very hard math problem. Or it's just a general hardship with the disability, like, oh, my problems with my bipolar disorder. So like, it's not being used to just like actually tell you a difficulty about the environment or the surroundings, but just that, oh yeah, that's a problem that I have, or a problem that I'm facing. So overall, the 5 barrier types are social support and societal attitudes. And as you can see on the right-hand side, it's the highest amount with 151 difficulty clips, 58%. Overall, YouTube has seen like a lot of the clips that we observed were mainly talking about these social support and societal attitudes and difficulties they're facing in that area. Then we have IT and assistive technology and systems and policy, which are the next 2 highest. And then we have environment and transportation. The barrier framework that we obtained these categories from originally had built environment, natural environment, and transportation separated, but for this study, we combined them into one category, environment and transportation. And then we have economic difficulties, which is the least on from our study. So we identified sub-themes for each category. For IT and assistive technology, one category or sub-theme was video games. So just accessibility issues when playing video games. We have closed captioning, issues caused by closed captioning or the lack of captioning, communication and augmentative and alternative communication. So hindrance of communication caused by technologies, assistive software, so just problems with assistive features and software, and web and app assistive devices, so just accessibility when encountering softwares and web applications. Then we have social support and societal attitudes. We have social stigma, which is basically just like the stigma of disabilities, people with disabilities basically feeling left out in their environment, or not being recognized, or being isolated or excluded. Disability awareness, so difficulties that are arised by common misconceptions or caused by like the lack of information of people around them. We have social support, so just the difficulties of the lack of social support in communities, and self-stigma. So these are difficulties that are caused by the people with difficulties like self-stigma, shame, or negativity from themselves about their disability, about the disability that they have, or and then the last one we have COVID, which with the rise or like the COVID era that we all experienced, there was a lot of videos just talking about the difficulty in encountering in the world through this COVID perspective and experiences. Then we have system and policies, and it's divided into overall pretty self-explanatory categories: healthcare, education, government, employment, and business and services. Then we have environment and transportation. So we have one category for residential, which is more at the home level. What do you encounter at that level? We have public facility, which is going outside of the more public areas, like what difficulties and barriers you might encounter there. Transportation and natural environment, just stuff that's not really in man-made control, like rain or natural elements. And then we have lastly economic, which is not divided into any sub-themes. It's just problems caused by inadequate economic or allocation of financial resources. So we have the social support and societal attitudes, the sub-themes divided on the right-hand side. And you can see that self-stigma and disability aware, self-stigma is one of the highest sub-themes that we found in this category. And then followed by kind of the shame or negativity caused by disabilities. So an example video of like this category is a YouTuber with a physical disability mentions that physical disabilities are aggravating because since they make you feel like you're bothering everyone else. We have IT and assistive technology and how these sub-themes are the each sub-themes, how many clips are under each sub-theme. And so we had total of 49 clips, and the most mentions were assistive hardware and software. So an example of a video that falls into this category is a YouTuber with vision impairment demonstrates the problem with the magnifier feature. We have system and policies. So the divisions on the right, we have the most popular is education. So it relates more to the availability and access to systems to support participation. So an example of this is a YouTuber with bipolar disorder comments about healthcare and that they need additional information on the therapy's disadvantages and criticisms so that we can see both sides, which is I've seen a very popular opinion that therapy, that it's not very disclosed, like what exactly are, I guess, the negatives of therapy, because we always see, oh yeah, we should encourage people to go to therapy, and we totally should. I'm not saying that we shouldn't, but just that there needs to be more visibility on how, like, what criticisms and what negatives there also are, so people are aware of these things before going into it, which is why YouTube can be such a helpful platform, because you can find individuals who experience similar things as you, and you can find that information out because somebody has already lived those experiences and are sharing that with their community. Environment and transportation, this was a total of 22 clips, the highest being public facilities. So an example, a YouTube example of kind of like a residential type of sub-theme was a YouTuber shows it is difficult to use a regular ladder to fix the smoke detector, which we saw earlier in the first slide. And then we have the smallest category, which is economics, with 11 total clips. So an example of this is a YouTuber mentions a financial issue with Social Security, that money is very tight for a lot of people, especially those living on a fixed income. So just some future research and discussion, we want to highlight kind of 3 key points. So YouTube for knowledge sharing, there's already so much data out there, or so many people have, encountered problems, and we have that data of, oh, the problems that are out there, as well as some people have even, figured out some solutions through these videos. And so just using video sharing platforms to help people with disabilities avoid problems or attain solutions can be very helpful. So maybe from even like a designer's perspective, YouTube can be like a data source to discuss like accessibility issues with their products and designs. So before maybe before designing a product, maybe just going online, doing even looking through YouTube. This I hopefully can be developed further into an actual database that people can maybe use and easily obtain, like, okay, yeah, this is some like issues and problems that people are dealing with this in this type of product. But for now, like, you can maybe just go into YouTube itself and just, see people experience these products and use that information to help make sure that you're avoiding those problems, and that people have already pointed out, or maybe even using the suggestions and solutions that they've already figured out. YouTube, we also want to discuss and further look into YouTube as a place for disclosing social pressure. So we've seen in our study that the most common difficulty disclosed by YouTubers are problems with social support and societal attitudes. So we can use YouTube to really examine the social situation and how that can hurt people with disabilities, and how we can kind of improve our social, like our society as a whole. And overall, we also want to look into public advocacy with online videos, and how YouTubers are using these video sharing communities to call for action and solve common accessibility challenges. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
I guess we have another maybe 10 minutes and for suggestions, feedback, and to our project.
A bit of a comment and then a question. So awesome job to all of you for presenting. I know how nerve-wracking it can be, and even yesterday, like I said, I was having a crisis of confidence as well. I've been presenting for a while, so yeah, awesome job. The question is to the first group, really. So I was looking at your technical documents, and there's obviously a lot of API calls and a lot of connections to other systems. What's the cost implications of that type of cloud compute and cloud computing and access to stuff like ChatGPT when you're building this type of technology?
So, so far we've just been working with the free tier stuff. So it was we try to request funding for the cloud computing, and also we were planning on even training our own model for sentence generation, and we ended up not receiving because I'm not sure exactly why for the second semester. So we were kind of, maybe because we're still just undergrad students, and they were probably scared for to trust us with that. So I'm not sure. So far, we're just trying to get it done on the free tier, and we'll see as we go in the future. So yeah, that's.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Also, one quick thing as well. Like we do have high performance computing in this area as well, so you can also try and access some of that sort of stuff, which is free. Like especially for like Southern California, there's like USC has a free system, and like the Claremont systems have high performance computing as well, to especially for training models and stuff. So there's resources out there for free access to stuff.
Okay, thank you. I did not. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I also want to say these were awesome presentations, so you should all be really proud. And also really interesting work. I had a question for Summayah. When you were looking at the YouTube videos, did you notice anything about the demographics of the people who are participating? Like, who's making the videos? Do you feel are there kind of particular groups that might actually be left out of YouTube? And, are there other platforms where you might look for them? I was just curious.
Yeah, I think since we only looked at videos with English subtitles, I think that also limited the scope a lot. So I don't want to say too much on that aspect, because I know like a lot of like the whole world almost kind of uses YouTube. But generally we were able to find, I think a lot of it was, from from just remembering off the top of my head, I remember there was a lot of cognitive and neural, like videos that, so a lot of people use YouTube, I think, to specifically talk about like mental disorders and that sort of thing that they're experiencing. I found that to be a really big popularity on YouTube versus I think the other disability types. So, and I think that could just because a lot more people relate to it's a more common more common and like just population wise like of certain like all the categories if we look at them. But I think we would something we have to look more into just because we haven't seen like like people with different like languages like and how just people who are English speaking, just looking at that kind of limits our perspective a little bit, I think. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Hi, I have two questions. One is more general. What is it like going to a school that like highlights accessibility, and how has that impacted your education? And then how would you recommend it to someone who goes to a school like this one that doesn't have as many resources and something like that, but wants to learn more about accessibility? And how do you think it's gonna impact you in the future as you develop more? And then I have a second question specifically for Summayah. Was it like analyzing a platform like YouTube or TikTok and how vulnerable people are willing to be on that platform, and how to the point that not only just the world can like learn more about their experiences, but researchers who are trying to better their experiences can also learn about that? Thank you.
Thank you. So I guess I'll just answer the second question and then somebody else can take the first one as well. Or yeah. So uh like oh wait, could you just repeat a little bit? Yeah.
No, you're good.
Sorry.
I was particularly interested in how the process of like analyzing how vulnerable people were on the platform and willing to talk about their experiences on a social media platform or a technical platform, and how that has impacted your ability to, as a researcher, to better their experiences, because you can base it off of primary sources that they're giving you like fully willingly.
Yeah. For me, first of all, this research experience was super eye-opening. Like there was so many things that I didn't even realize that could cause other people difficulties because I was just like, I'm just living my everyday life, and then I'm like, I don't even like acknowledge like, oh, how even just like this like curb not being like slanted can like affect people, or how like even just like the text not being large. Like there was just so many like different aspects of like everyday life that I just breezed by, that now I was like, oh wow, this is so eye-opening, and how it could be so challenging for like people from all different walks of life. And so I think, and just like it's I think definitely before, I think this wasn't information that was so publicly available, and that's why I feel like this it really before I think like yeah like it really helps with the advocacy with all these people really putting their hearts out to tell you about their problems. And it'll be kind of inhumane just to like ignore that and just move on with your life when people are literally being so vulnerable and like putting their hearts out with sharing their experiences. So I think this kind of research kind of proves that, oh, like you should like taking like, you know, they're taking like, I'm sure they don't feel comfortable 100% of the time sharing their vulnerabilities like that, like, you know, like especially like even from my personal experience, like I couldn't imagine like the problems I face and then having to just share that with the world, because like, but they care more about, you know, making that change than they care about their own personal discomfort. So we really need to, you know, open our eyes, listen more, and start to really apply how people like start to really apply and work towards making a better world for everybody. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, maybe I can give you a little bit more idea about your first question. And so I think that this area of study and is more open to everyone. And so if you really put like a human at the center of the study, and so you will find a lot of opportunities. And so from my personal experience, and I think Andrew, Dr. Wilson also mentioned about this. And so this field is very, very open, and even the companies are open to collaborate. And so you saw those free plugins from Unity and to improve accessibility and of gamers experience, right? So for this project, and we actually started back in 2018, 2019, and so we get a lot of help from Amazon AWS. I gave credit to them because they were helping us and to make all the videos and caption and through cloud computing, which is a more cost-effective approach. But there were some very practical problems, and we saw and in that project, and so we work with them, and we were able to improve the performance of their general speech engine, right? And but we also carry over the methodology and from that research and to this one, so we're able and to use machine learning and to analyze captions, right? And to really get insight and from people with a disability. And so, I mean, companies are very open to collaborate in this area. And so, I think accessibility is not just for people with disability, and is also for all of us, right? And so, I mean, like that captioning project, and we did, and before pandemic, of course, we didn't expect there's a pandemic, but during pandemic, and we saw there's a big surge of using captioning and feature across campus. And so, I mean, one of my colleagues did a study, and it shows, and for students across the board, and in our 23 and CSU campuses, and so with captioning, and student academic performance and increased by 42%, and because they don't need to do this note taking, right? And so they can see access to the contents and much better, and even they have like a very noisy and background, right? And so I guess to go back to my point, and so when we create those technologies, and we design for everyone. But that's an excellent question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I'm really proud of you guys, like students coming here to present. So thank you. So I guess I have a more general question about like some of the research findings that you have, like the research that you have done. Like, do you disseminate it to the public, or like do people outside of the university make use of the research results that you have produced, and if there are any collaborations, and also for your program, like what's the kind of job placement for the graduates, and what do they do after they graduate from the program?
Well, I think that's the information and missing from my slides. And so there was a video and talks about like where the student end up with. And so some of them and stay local, right? And some of them are actually from other state and to take this course, take this program. And so they are actually working in different area. And so, I mean, they get the support and we received, and it's not just from Assistive technology companies. And so like, defense company like Northridge government. And so they also support us and to do this type of work, because, the knowledge can be transferred into, other areas. But again, I really want to thank you and, for inviting us and to here, be part of this symposium. And so, connect us with, people who are interested in this field and locally and, across the country and also all over the world. And of course, and we open to collaboration. Thank you.
So I guess like scientists are always aware of the time, so we're right on time. So that's great. And so we have food. I think we have food outside. I think I heard some noise. So there should be sandwiches outside. So anyone here can get a sandwich outside, and we have water. So we don't have a lot of drinks because it's a holidays, but I hope water would be good. So we'll resume at 1. So you're free to eat in here, or there's another room, Han 108, that you can go and if you want a more private setting to chat.